I have mentioned this before, and I will repeat. The book, What's of My Perfect Teacher, is easily available in the market. Anyone can purchase, read on your own, right? Number one, when you talk about the book itself. Number two, when you talk about a teacher who explains about what's of my perfect teacher. There are teachers who teach this on WeChat and other platform on social media. Not only that, but also from different tradition, non-Nyingma tradition are also teaching this book. So we have a questions there. What is our objective? It's like a cooking book. We learn about the menu of this, particular dish, about how much of water and certain ingredients to be put in, mixed it. It's, if it's something like a cooking book, then this is absolutely fine. To buy it from library, to get it online, or someone that totally has no connection with the Dharma, this particular lineage, but someone started teaching it, So if you question this, what is it? And are we very privileged? Are we very lucky? Because we get to study this book. Maybe not, because there are many people who studies this. There are many people who could read this on your own. You could even listen to recorded versions of Dalai Lama, for example, right? Audio recording of many other teachers. So by just able to study this book and able to listen to these teachings will not make you a extraordinary recipient or student. Something that I want to tell you, okay? And then at the same time, why Patrul is making this so difficult for us, so-called respectfully you call Rinpoche, right? Why he is making it so difficult for us? Is it a way of marketing it? Is it a way of promoting it? What is it that he make a big fuss out of these teachings? Where it is available on the market, any Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street could read this book on their own, including such a celebrated master like Dalai Lama. He started teaching this. People teach this on WeChat group, Facebook group, Telegram. But here he make us on our video, make sure we attend it, make sure we receive empowerment. What is it? What a nonsense, right? Back of your mind, maybe, because I'm a very self-critical person myself, which is good and bad. Good because everything must have reasons. Bad because I don't, seems like, agree things with superficial kind of explanations. And I go into details and explains, proof, evidence are very important. So doing this, to be honest, I had a lot of mixed feelings, to not continue this for some time, of what's of my perfect teacher. Maybe I wanted to continue this next year. Maybe continue if I recover. Continue when I'm more comfortable. There's a lot of mixed feelings, right? Of when should I continue this? And practically speaking, I should do this now, because I'm still able to speak. I'm still able to so-called interact and do whatever it is as a normal human being. So then, it's very funny feelings, okay? There's teacher part and there's a student parts, right? As a teacher, I'm so proud. I'm so happy. I feel this is so privileged. I'm doing everything according to Dharma. Like we have the most authentic lineage, and then the empowerment from the teacher. I'm doing everything according to what it should be done according to Dharma. And I'm so excited. I'm over kind of so-called I don't know what's the proper word, excited or overjoyed, and it's not overrating, I guess, because if I say overrating, I'm saying that what Longchen said, what Jimmy Nimpa said, what the other masters said is not, valid, and they are just, trying to protect their teachings, and this is why they said that don't share students who are not proper, don't give this teachings without empowerment, and you can just be online, you can just be randomly just publicly just this teaching, make it available, don't have to be so strict, So then I hear someone trying to make it so special, right? That would be overrating, right? But at the same time, I am, kind of feeling and not feeling, thinking, I'm sorry to tell you that as a teacher, I'm doing it. I'm not a perfect teacher, but the way I deliver this to you is perfect. I'm doing this in a perfect way. If Guru Rinpoche or Longshenpa or Dharmapala comes down and tells me there's something that I'm doing wrong, there's no way they can find something that I have done improper in that way. So I'm perfectly doing this 99.9 according to what Dharma is supposed to be done. And I'm not saying I'm the perfect teacher. Even you are not the perfect teacher, but if you do things perfectly, fine, then maybe it's better than the perfect teacher, I guess, because you are getting the job done properly. So in this regard, I take great pride. And to be honest, there was a feelings that I want to wait for so long. At the same time, I waited so long because there are a couple of people who are like trying to visit. One of them is in Europe, one of them is nearby. And just like, oh, Rinpoche, please include me in the teachings, But it's not what they are. What they say and what they do is doesn't match. So I had to wait, not to be so rude. Give time. So I think we gave about June was our last. July was last class. June, right? So July, August, right? About 2 to 3 months. I give time for people to arrange, and there are a few of you who are very, very dedicated, came all the way from other part of the world, and to be honest, it was imagine you are supposed to help all the mother sentient beings. at the same time, maybe only one or two or three or four people that you have to exclude in this teaching. If you are in my shoes, I don't know what kind of feelings, what kind of emotions you have to not include them in the class, not include them in the teachings. For example, I don't know how lucky you feel to be in the mandala today. I don't know how, privileged you are feeling. Oh, wow, we're so lucky. We get to receive these teachings from Rinpoche, such an authentic lineage. Either, I don't know how serious you are to practice or not. But to be honest with you, as a teacher, to even exclude one or two students was so painful for me. And I had to literally take their name out and not include in this. It was really, really a painful feeling for me, to be honest. Emotionally speaking, as a job of teacher. And at the same time, you must be thinking like, oh, dude, you are thinking too much. There are many masters who even don't know their students. When Dalai Lama teach, there are 10,000s of people. Does he know who is not included today? Right? We totally take a different route, different approach. So what I'm trying to say is, the conclusions of this part of the class, part 2 of What's on My Perfect Teacher. I think 99% of our Dharma friends are, you all are well educated. Another little negative way, you are very smart people. You all are very smart people. Modern, smart, self-sufficient, very smart people. So being a very smart people, you understand what you're going through. I'm not teaching 10 years, 100 years ago to the kampong or the villagers. I'm not teaching to a very devoted, oh, Rinpoche means everything to us. Buddha means everything to us. I'm not. I'm teaching to all the educated. Most of you went to university degree, for example, levels. If not up to the, at least like, all levels. Very smart people. And we live in millennium kind of era. Everyone is very, very smart people. Right? So there are rules, there are so-called commitments and dedication from the teacher as well as the student side, And my main point is, since you all are well educated, who took this in a simple word, the risk with your own intelligence, this is to help you free from this illusion world. This is to give you the most meaning of your life. If you are looking for meaning of your life, Dharma is an answer for all of us. So the objective of this part is to really make good use of these teachings and to do something. It's not I don't expect any of you, I don't think that any of you, none of you are like worried you will go to hell, or you're worried about your health, your well-being. So that's why you study Dharma, you follow Dharma teachings. I don't think so. Then we are totally, my expectation and your wishes, your so-called approach are totally different. So my understanding of my so-called fellow mandala is, you all are genuine Dharma followers who are well educated. materials, samsara, these things doesn't matter to you. Another simple dharma word is, you know the defect of samsara. I have no choice. I'm born as a human being in this human body. I don't know how long I live, but I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I found this dharma path. I found the path. I found the teacher. Now, for me to embrace these teachings and to, so-called enlighten myself and to benefit all the sentient beings. So please sleep on this tonight. Why do I follow Dharma? Why I have a teacher? Why I'm attending this stupid class? The objective of this whole purpose, objective of this whole so-called, practice. Number one, think of your life. Number two, why you are attending this. If when you wake up, when you realize you maybe have a beautiful family, good career, loving and caring family members, good health, I rejoice. But for how long? If you or me don't wake up tomorrow morning, what is going to happen to the things that we have? Really, what will happen to us? For example, in Singapore, Indonesia, we will be dragged to casket immediately. If it's in Bhutan, you are put outside the house, in the tent, in the freezer. Doesn't matter who you are. It's just become the end, right? So I think it's very important for us to really contemplate. Number one, look for the meaning of the life. With this, if you found the meaning in Dharma, you are in the right place. This is the place, and I am the teacher. This is the path. I want to tell you that. If you're still searching outside some, Dharma world, this is the wrong place. I have nothing for you all. And I don't think I'm doing great too, physically speaking. And people who even can't bless himself. Look at things. What you are looking at, your Rinpoche, health. I'm at the most pathetical situations right now, my health. I don't have the power to bless your health. Look at myself. I tie down to a mission. I'm exhausted. That means following what I do will not give you good health. No, it's not going to get you good health. It's not going to give you a better life. Oh, maybe we should follow him, then we can become a rich. You can't become a rich by following me. I struggle. I have monasteries to look after. If tomorrow I don't wake up, I have nobody to feed my monks. My temple is yet to be completed. There are a lot of things still pending. Materially, I'm not successful too. So what is your objective that you follow this teacher? To be blessed physically? I'm sorry. He is an example. Second failure of the kidney transplant. He has all the sickness on the earth. In fact, we are helping him. You are talking about materially speaking. We are helping him. So in the mundane religion, we are looking at too. health and wealth. Both I don't have. So why you all are looking at me and say, Rinpoche, Rinpoche, or whatever, like, putting me on the throne and paying respect? I'm useless. Are you getting it? So since I don't have it, how can I even give it to you? Health and wealth. Right? But at the same time, as I was saying, if you're looking for something spiritual, then I have it. I do have it. It's the right place for you. So what I wanted to stress you is, my friend, what are you looking for? Looking for a success, good health, this and that? No. Don't even respect me for that. Don't even hang around. And then if it's a meaning of life, if something spiritual you are looking for, then now is a time for you to really review yourself once. Who you are, what you are. And especially, what's on my perfect teacher part 2. What's on my perfect teacher part 2 is really for spiritual people. It won't make any sense, some of the teachings here. You meditate, Bodhisattva in a union, having sex in the crown of you, and their sperm comes down, you get purified. What is that? And look at it, read about it, you'll be like, what is it? It's like watching a Kama Sutra. No, seriously. What is it? This is so crazy, right? Something very personal, we don't even talk. Here, openly, that there's a lot of meditation that is so crazy. And later in Kusala, you cut your body into pieces, put into you cut yourself and boil it. What is it? It's so crazy. It's so unacceptable. The views, the approach, the whole idea is like so kind of devastating, right? It's just so crazy. You have a better job to do than this. You have more work to do than this, right? So I remember first Neyphug Trulku and then his teacher in the Donkala monastery. He came as a young man to meditate. And the old man says, this is not a place for young people to play. Go back to your home. He refused to teach. So this is not a place for samsaric people to be like, try to listen and to entertain yourself. You will be so confused. But at the same time, if you really want to be a spiritual person, spiritually oriented, we have the right setting, and somehow you are lucky, because I do respect my teacher a lot. And I do everything according to what my teacher wished to do. I do everything what Dharma should be done. Right? And big mistake I have is I expect. I was even thinking, yesterday, was it yes, this morning. Okay, Hartaman is not here. So he was driving me today, right? In back of my mind, we always have this dual kind of character, right? You in front of you are somebody, back of your mind you're somebody. So I was back of my mind, I was somehow, because I know I'm going to talk about this class tonight, I was thinking about the Buddha nature. So because we have to visualize the Bodhisattva, we have to think about everyone has a Buddha nature. That's why everyone can be enlightened as a Buddha. So this morning when I come out, the first thing I see is a security guard, like a little bit sleeping. I see Buddha sleeping there, I was like, this is so weird. And there was like coming down, there was a guy on the street just smoking. I see there's a Buddha smoking, and there's a food court, uncle serving chicken and everything. And I see the Buddha doing it. And everywhere I said like, wow. And then I was thinking that, oh, you are Indian, you are Chinese, you are white people, you are this, you are that. We have so much of this. Who you are, your identity. But if you realize, if you understand the nature of the Buddha, you see everyone as a Buddha, and these things doesn't matter to you. Either you're a Chinese, Indian, white, black, blue. It's just another Buddha there, to be honest. And then suddenly there was a huge bus next to me. I see there's 20 Buddha inside the bus, it's like, and I was looking around, I was like, wow. This teaching of this whole Vajrayana is so amazing, the Buddha nature in everyone, And so the point what I'm just trying to explain is, the whole teachings is now from the part 2, visualizations, seeing everyone as a Buddha, the pure perceptions, transformations is very important for all of us, So I don't know if you all are prepared and ready, kind of, mindset. And so I was even thinking that today whole day, actually, I was thinking about the class, to be honest. In Himalaya, there are, if you the Bhutanese, our Bhutanese friends here may be thinking that, Rinpoche, what are you talking about? In Bhutan, you go to any Rinpoche, oh, Rinpoche, give me order transformation. Okay, done. Then you religiously thinking that, you have a great devotions and accept it. So in Himalaya, an uneducated approach to Vajrayana is like doctor and the patient. When you go to hospital, we don't know anything about the medicines, right? He's a doctor, means he can cure me. The doctor can cure me, whatever he gives is going to benefit me, right? This is what most of the naive people think, which is a very powerful attitude. In Himalaya, this is what we have. If you see a Rinpoche or teachings, it's just perfect. They have no second thought, So that power of thinking everything is perfect really helps them to see everything as pure. But for us, we don't have that. Everything is conditioned. We are somehow, we think we are, but there's a second thought involved. Our society, environment, our educations kind of rings, second bell. Like, hey, why? Why? So then it's like we are like a pharmacist who go and take medicines. That when you take the medicines, doctor prescribe you, or you have a headache, take a Panadol. Could be a brain tumor, but you take this Panadol right now temporarily. So you are convinced, I know this is not a particular cure, but just to subside my headache, I have to take this medicine. But there are side effects, So what I'm saying is, you people are very educated. You are very educated. You have a valid reasons to examine these things, And here, what do you call it? From the part 2 of What's My Perfect Teacher, a lot of things will, if you are in the very mundane world, it will not make any sense. As I said, like, for example, in the union of Bodhisattva, visualizations and purification is like, for normal human being setting, anything union of man and woman is X-rated. It is big no. But here, this X-rated kind of whole action is a source of purification. Look at it, how crazy it is. Union of Bodhisattva and the consort is a source of your purifications. In other setting, these are the source of your accumulation of negative karma. Right? So that's why I think it's important to pay a good attention to it, as well as to be to cut it short, be appreciated if you are into a Dharma path. We do have I do follow the perfect part of the teachings, setting, tradition, and I do really hope that you all understand what you are doing and how it complements your life. So this is the most important part of the practice. So please don't like make us force you, say like, oh, come attend class, this and that. I feel the more I have to remind you all, then I feel like I want to give up, because it's something very precious, but people are not appreciating it enough. And that few of you kind of generalize everyone, and I don't feel like teaching to everybody, because few people put me off, to be honest, right? And you're just like, you kind of like to put everything into the same kind of things, right? So then what happened is, and few sincere people will be affected because of few of you being careless on the path, And as I was saying, if you really want to be a good Dharma practitioner, if you wish to be really so-called enlightened, if you really wanted to achieve the path of the Dharma in a very ordinary form of who you are as a layman, laywoman, this is a perfect setting. You can achieve it. You don't have to be a monk. You don't have to be a nun. Be who you are, but follow your teacher's instruction in the book, guidebook, and try to be a little bit more committed. This will definitely give you an answer. Okay. All right. With this, I'm going to call on all the teachers to bless us, shower us with love and compassion, and transform us. Kiza doje zaman garanje jambe je se anda jana so de venje be mala so wa de so da je shenge so yo doje je mo do zamba ki ge je je me yo nyo go den jana mala so wa de so da je shenge lo ngi je je sam ge de shen la no da ma se de se ra ba le ge so de be o be ge ba da go je ta ba me para shenge lo wa zan de se be ge do chen ta to je no da nya be da ma ya na de dam ba be te jo Corte jogo zo bo ngan ba de me ze sha la zo de shi gu ngan lo je ze de me se de jo ye zo no ja na ge ne jo ba ji me ni be sha la zo de fa ji de ma je do je ro da na de jo re ze la la ge ji me ge nyo go zo de ji de ge be zo be sho la na de be ma ji zo re zo ma je de ya na de ye ji me je go zo de je ge de bo na ma de de ma ga da ye zo ba je be de ge 너도 내 매니마 소화돼 무슨 교학이 이제고 뭐저 도저 거니 배마라 이제 좀 내가 나게 와 배마 내제 살아 소화돼 그래서 샤바지 매님 바이 저도 더 배경은 좀 매셔 상해들을 배진 디바살아 소화돼 이제 그런 다음에 이제 보면 내가 저도 좀 하시는 거 남마 싫으니 뭐 소화돼 맞을 때 배지 배마라 다른 사람 소화돼 그냥 뭐 담바 발랑다도 와 너는 이제 살아 소화돼 그게 좀 뭐니 전에 오기 전에 남만에 안 돼서 이게 내가 된다 Did you want to learn the to make a long in the then the Marine Model, but I did about the general and didn't give me and do. Or make you give one of those singing on ye, and other young of them severe, so I'm not sure I did. I didn't bail on my jaw, and I'm not much of a Somebody the bottom did Janamale, get all of the Nijing, the Meg, and Allah, no one get a get some jig at the church on take your cheese. All right, always the primary motivation is the bodhicitta. May I able to be enlightened, awakened to benefit all the mother sentient beings. Secondary, then with the 5 auspicious way of thinking of Vajrayana. So because I'm going to stress more on this now, because then all the visualizations are about pure and impure. Let's talk about first the view. Okay, there are teachings of Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. Please make sure that you all understand it, okay? View meaning the attitude, the way of thinking, the nature of thinking. In the Dharma, we call it view, right? Nature of thinking. Theravada's nature of thinking is always samsara is defect, suffering, everything should be avoided, life is impermanent, there are some sufferings, there are pain, everything is negative and positive, you know. So avoidance, right? Avoid, avoid, avoid. I repeat, nature, mind setting of Theravada, Buddha introduced as a avoidance. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Everything is so dirty, dangerous, not good, attachment, suffering, avoid. That was the baby step of wisdom the Gautama Buddha introduced. Do you have any questions on this? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, are we Theravada follower? If we are not a Theravada follower, our primary thinking should not be, oh, life is suffering, oh, everything is impermanent, everything is avoid, this is negative, this is good karma, bad karma. You know, this should not be our attitude. This should not be our so-called nature of behavior. Our behavior should be a little different, right? Is that clear? Okay, so now the second part of the Buddha's teaching is called Mahayana. The Mahayana's nature of thinking is everything is empty, there's no good and bad, everything is empty, no attachment. Don't, this is attachment, don't think, empty, you know. And we also should not be thinking everything is empty and not to be free from attachment. Because that's a Mahayana way of thinking. But the main, if it's like an engine, there are car, right? 800 cc, 1200 cc, you know, then they go like, you know, sudden that up to this V8, V6 engine, right? So these are the very, very small engine. Okay, thinking the life is suffering, painful, defect, avoidance, samsara is a very small engine way of thinking. The more advanced is, everything is empty, detachment, you know, all this illusionary kind of appearing. These things are a little more powerful than that thinking of everything is samsara. For example, let's say when you want to, what will be, everybody talks about, maybe most people like maybe a cake, chocolate, right? For example, right? Says that when you say chocolate, you kind of think, oh, chocolate is good for, not good for your health. Oh, it's going to make you sick. Your sugar is going to go up. This is a very, very negative thinking of what chocolate is, right? Very unhealthy. Chocolate is very bad, bad. You know, and there should be another way thinking of saying that chocolate is an illusion. You know, it actually, chocolate has a sweet, chocolate has alcohol, maybe chocolate has a coca, maybe I can get this supplement somewhere, you know, then it comes the same amount of, for example, recipe, what you call it, the ingredients of what it is, you know, looking at the essence of it, you know, kind of. And there are people who are much wiser in saying that, oh, I don't need chocolate. It's just my mind that, you know, kind of, and where the chocolate comes from, right? Looking into, for example, the so-called the fundamental of what the chocolate is. So similarly, in the Dharma aspect, what we need to do is, for example, the samsara, the first way of thinking that, oh, life is suffering, life is painful, life, the fact of samsara, in the samsara there's no happiness, is a very ordinary way of thinking. Number two, oh, is impermanent, it is empty, is illusionate, a little bit better, but still not perfect. So now as a Vajrayana follower, what we need to do is, the world is pure. Everything is Buddha. Everything is Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manubalaya Vajrasattva Didva, 100 Buddhas. Everything is wrathful and peaceful. Everything is in pure perceptions. The approach, the mental kind of, the engine should be upgraded to that powerful mind, seeing everything as pure. If you don't have, okay, so if your mind is not able to be kind of set into that kind of pure perceptions, Vajrayana practice will not benefit you. This whole visualization, for example, as I was saying, suddenly you need to visualize the mother in the union of Bodhisattva, and you need to visualize them as your support. How is that possible? For any ordinary common people, this is impossible. To visualize. How can we cut your body into pieces, put into a skull and give it away? We have such a strong attachment, ideas and concepts. So the whole Vajrayana is to destroy this concept and ideas. So that's why what I was saying is, if you are not into that kind of destroying that concept, now if we use a simple word, is a fear. If we hold our body very dearly, and it's very fearful things, right? We don't want anything to happen to our body. So now in the Vajrayana, in the Kusali, since you all have received the teachings, and if you read the Kusali, your consciousness, wisdom comes out, you see your dead body, you cut into pieces, put into a skull, and give it to the so-called hungry ghost, whatever. You see your body giving it away. How is that going to be accepting? If you're in a little mosquito bite, we just have to beat it up, and we are hungry, we're like, I'm so tired, I'm so cold, can you off the aircon, for example. And here we are talking about giving it away. Mentally, we're preparing into this kind of things, right? So that's why Vajrayana is very, very, I remember it's the page number 9 somewhere, it's mentioned, Vajrayana needs a strong, skillful means, okay? I don't know if I ever get time to repeat this teaching with you all. What's on my perfect teaching for the next time? It can be possible this may be my last teaching of what's on my perfect teaching. Okay, so sorry to be long-winded. I like to stress a little bit, given all the conditions, So at least you heard what I had to say, And some of you thinking that this is maybe not appropriate. Why Rinpoche is being so intense, And just read it out, just read it, explain, right? But I'm taking this opportunity to be a little bit more advanced, to really stress you for the essence of the teachings, okay? So, all right, what's my perfect teacher? Part 1 and part 2. Part 1 should have explained to us the purpose of life. What is samsara? Why we are born in samsara? How long we will live? Why we suffer in the way we suffer? Why we go through all the things what we go through? How it kind of reacts and responds, And eventually, there is things called nirvana. The freedom is most important. We all should seek and look for it. And to look for freedom, most important part is we needed to, first thing is to take refuge. And even the refuge part, most of you I have introduced you to a general refuge first. Lama La Chap Sucho, Sangha La Chap Sucho, Shwe La Chap Sucho, Gedyan La Chap Sucho. I pay homage to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all the physical something appearance, right? But when it comes to the Nyandro, even refuge goes very advanced. Since you're all studying, those who are doing Nyandro, you know what it means. Those who have not studied Nyandro, but receive, maybe you should contemplate what I am trying to say. So even in Theravadas, Mahayana, we go Buddhanam Saranam Gacchami, Dhammam Saranam Gacchami, Sangham Saranam Gacchami, you know, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Now when it goes to Vajrayana, even the refuge goes, Kyuncho Sumi Deshi, Tsawa Sum, Salung Tili Ranji Chanchuasan, Ngo Ranjin Tuji Kikola, Chanchu, Ningbi Parto Chapsu Chase. The 4 verses, each verse is so powerful. The first one says, Buddha Dharma Sangha, to you. Just briefly, which is we have been so stressful talking about. For example, I have this much, this is so important, you know, like, have you heard of the story of the frog in the pond and the frog in the oceans? So general refuge is like frog in the ocean, a pond. Buddha Dharma Sangha, all the time. Here suddenly says, Lama Idam Kando. Yes, outer, inner, and secret refuge. Outerly to the Buddha Dharma Sangha. Buddha Dharma Sangha has 2 categories, cause and result. Such Buddha, the statue of the Buddha, Dharma Sangha, and also the result of the Buddha, of your body as a Sangha, your mind as a Buddha, your speech as a Dharma. And if you go into even outside, you know, outer the refuge, you look into it. Now you go to the inner Dharma, you go to Lama, Idam, Kando of 3 roots. Secretly, you go into your own awareness of channel, energy, and essence, and mainly to your Buddha nature. You take refuge with nobody but within yourself. And these are only introduced during Vajrayana practice. Kyuncho Sumi Deshik Tsawa Sum, Salung Tili Rangin Changchup Sem, Salung Tili Rangjin Changchup Sem, to the bodhicitta, nature of your mind. In the Vajrayana, ultimately you take refuge with your nature of your mind. This is so powerful. This is so powerful. If you, few of you thinking the Nyando is so difficult, right? Which is you never went into the Nyando details. When you look at it, if you don't do Nyando, you're wasting your life. Read the meaning of Nyando, you'll be overwhelmed, say like, shit, this is so powerful. I've been chanting Buddha, 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 Dharma, 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 Sangha, 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 Sangha. Now this goes into the complete. Eventually, the highest authority is yourself, and you go into your nature. You take away refuge with your own nature, which is only Vajrayana explains about it. The mandala of the reality. I repeat slowly. Mandala of a family of reality. Who is the family of reality? The whole composite of your body, your awareness, is the family of your own reality. Till I become the perfect Buddha. You know, these are so amazing. For example, I'm just only talking about refuge right now to summarize. Okay. Now we go to the motivation prayer. Normally, may sentient beings be free from sufferings, hell realms to be free, all the hungry ghosts to be helped, which is nice. Now, if you look at the Nyando's practice, it goes like, Naso Nawa Shuda Juni, Korwa Logo Judu Chambetu. Korwa Logo Judu Chambetu. What is it? Naso Nawa Juda Juni, Korwa Logo Judu Chambetu. Right? So it says, we don't talk about sufferings. We say confused, Suffering and confused, which one is more powerful word? Normally we say suffering, suffering. In here, we use the bodhicitta is confused. So meaning when you look at as a Ngendo practitioner, when we look at sentient beings, we don't see as a suffering sentient beings. We look at sentient beings. For example, there is a commoner Buddhist follower looking at the sentient beings, and there is a Ngendo practitioner or Vajrayana practitioner looking at the sentient beings. Two of us has a different lens. You see sentient being as a suffering, but I see sentient being as a confused. That's why it says, if you look at the read of the Ngendo practice itself, it says confused sentient beings to be awakened. So now if you look at even the word itself, the meaning, confused sentient beings to be awakened, suffering sentient beings to be free from sufferings. We are talking about the same person. For example, your mother or your sister being abused by your husband, their husband got in trouble. Then you say, my sister-in-law is suffering, I want her to be free. And there's another one looking at like, my sister refused to listen to me. She is confused. If she listened to me and do this, she is over. That looking at the solution is totally two different way of looking at it, for example, from a different point of view, right? So if you look at it, even so-called how we look at the view, the values are totally different in Ngendo practice. So here I was talking about refuge, normal refuge, and this refuge is different. Those who are doing Ngendo practice, we have done a wonderful job. Those who have not done it, you may be wasting something. You're letting go of some, You should consider upgrading your engine into that setting. Seriously. Your attitude, your thinking, your approach. It's not, don't talk about, and then it goes into pure impures, just very advanced practice of it, right? So now today, the third part is that's the sattva practice of purifications. It's not even confess, it's a purifications, right? So sumba doji sembe gomde timi enchang jongsu den lamcho tasing yejang lobisu siji tabe dejang sinana somela meshaba chasalos. Patrul Rinpoche is praising his, paying homage to his teacher. You are free from all the obstacles of self and the world's kind of stain. Yet, for example, I'm an enlightened teacher, I don't have to teach you, I'm an enlightened being, this is how I feel. Yes, as my teacher didn't do it. He is free from all the stain and obstacles, yet he continued to teach us how to purify our karma, how to cleanse our negative stain. Lamcho touching yejang lobisu. He went beyond the path. He went beyond the learning. Yet he taught us how to go beyond. Yet he taught us how to practice. He is beyond the samsara. Yet he talked about the samsara for us. My teacher, someone that is incomparable, something that I cannot compare with anybody. So, Patrul Rinpoche's praise and then the gratitude and thanksgiving to his teacher. Tenusumba diba jongwa lama duji sembe gomde la chue sembe sul la soba da se. So part 2 of What's My Perfect Teacher, chapter 3, is the purifications, the practice of meditating on Bodhisattva, attitude, motivations is, of course, as mentioned in the part 1, always need to be humble and with the good bodhicitta, must listen to Dharma. Now, we are talking about, can we purify the negative karma, right? Most of us, if I'm a sinful, if I'm a sinner, if I have a karma, let's try not to use the very lightly word such as sin. Is a non-Buddhist word, right? Such as we call it stain. It's very interesting. How do you translate the sin, right? Is a Christian word, for example. But digba, when we say digba means heavy. In the Dharma, we call something that if I'm negative, I call it something heavy that to press me down, that I'm not able to have the freedom. So I need to remove that heavy load on me. In another word, the sin is called heavy. Another term, so-called the sin, is called stain. You are wearing something very white and nice, and you get stained and imperfect, right? So those negative karma are the stain. If you look at the entity of the stain and your nature of the Buddha, these are two different entities, right? You can remove the stain. When you have something you stain, is your shirt spoiled? You can wash it, right? You can bleach it. Then you can be back to normal. That means when your shirt gets stained, you don't lose the quality of your shirt. Of course, but in order to bring back to the original quality, you have to work hard. Wash it, bleach it, laundry it, right? So this is Dharma, even the word is words are very practical too. We call it digba, meaning like heavy, something that I'm not able to have the freedom. My wrongdoings are the heavy things. And another word we call dibba, something that is staining, covering, stain. So it says, you can remove the heavy things that put on you, or you can bleach the stain that you have, Use a simple chola, Samuel Lamgi Namto, Chabajin Kiawala, Portuchibi Soni, Didipachens. This you should highlight it. I don't know English part how it's translated. Here it says, for someone to be awakened is obstructed by stain. True, right? It's very much true, right? So for example, can you see what is inside? You can't, right? Because it's covered, it's stained. So we say like, don't know what he has. That's called, this is a negative karma. So you remove the stain, cover, right? For example, he says, what is not able to see is because we have the stain. This is the Buddha nature in this particular line says. The Buddha nature is always there, but you are not able to see it because we have something that covers it. In other words, we are not enlightened. We are not enlightened. Why? Because we have stain. If you remove the stain, then we are enlightened beings. So, and I don't know if you have realized, there are many Buddhist followers who stress so much of doing good, but not much of purification. Do you agree? So here, this part explains which one is more important, to remove the stain or to accumulate more. So here it says, on the path of perfect Dhamma path, in order to be enlightened, to be awakened, the main hindrance is stain, covering of negative karma is what hinders you. They are kunji menola topi zonyen charwa chabala deba jonga kelche desi. That's why in the Aliyah mind, for example, now it's going to be a little bit technically speaking, the Buddha nature has the Aliyah. Aliyah is covered by all the cognitions or our kind of emotions and our our memories covered of the good karma, bad karma, both. Doesn't matter either bad or good, both covering it. So we need to remove this. In order to remove this, so we need to really have some kind of method to remove this, it says. For example, it's like in a mirror, if you wanted to get a clear reflection, most important part is you needed to clean the surface of the mirror. If you don't clear the surface of the mirror, your reflection won't be clear. You may be a most good-looking people. You go in a dusted kind of mirror, then you can't see yourself, right? So he's saying that in order to reflect yourself, the Buddha, in order for you to reflect the Buddha nature, you just don't stress on bringing up the Buddha nature too much. Buddha nature is there, but what you do is clear the surface. So in this regard, take notice, purification is very, very important element in the Vajrayana. That's why Atisha, remember, taking out the mandalas, and many of them would still continue a lot of purifications. But is it, Rinpoche, is it the purification is something different from accumulation of merit? It's set by the mindset. For example, today we did a Gana Chakra. Your intention is to accumulate merit, right? It's like gain. Then you didn't do anything against the purifications, for example. So what you need to do is whatever you do, it should be focusing most on purifications, right? The text is an evidence, you know. That's why in the Dharma language we call it sak jang. You know, sak meaning accumulation, jang meaning purifications. You know. So tela chiri debajami thap tham baji gelwi tembale teda tham chigi chodo jobane namadoji sembogom de indi. Buddhas have told many methods and the ways to purify our negative stain. Among all the methods, meditating on Bodhisattva is the most excellent and perfect practice. There chiri dibile kaya shaba mitaba medi ngengi tambada gi sheni chiri dibala yunde mejang shabi taba dibi yundi sonse. So it is important for us to purify the negative karma stain. At the same time, it is also the best quality, and the quality of negative karma is that can be purified. As mentioned by many ancient masters, there's nothing good about negative karma. But only one good thing is about karma is if you realize you have done something negative, it can be purified. It can be purified. Yes, na chi sotar gi damba tang gelwa na chang chue sembe labjan na gelwa sanganga gi nyamba su gi dibale chi chap chen se. So there are three categories of karmas, a stain for the dharma follower. First one is the, for example, precepts. You know, for example, as a Buddhist, do's and don'ts. As a dharma follower, there are do's and don'ts. Secondly, being a Mahayana follower, then the commitment of bodhicitta. Then the finally being a Vajrayana follower, commitment towards the Samaya. You know, so it put into three categories. For example, as a layman, it's a different story. As a Dharma practitioner, possibly I may have 3 different of kind of so-called wrong deeds. Wrong deeds again, wrongdoing against perceptions, wrongdoing against bodhicitta, wrongdoing against samaya. Of breaking of samaya, breaking of bodhicitta, breaking of perceptions. These 3, Tamzi Q Shaba Metaba Medi, Tamzi Q Medonwa Am, so Mitonwa Chingi, Mitong Gujako Sabaya, Shaba Sochudi, Setela Dachum Bekomotom, Yabo Makida Rangi, Pasebeyan, Shishabo Sochudi, Nyawat, Tagi Ponon Dabazam, Nani, Tarbaso, Toma, Zobisangi, Dodinam Lesombe, same. So it is possible, such as Angula Mala, as well as the King Makeda, that who have murdered his own father, they are even able to purify such a heinous, powerful sin, So it says karma is possible compared to them. Our karma is much lesser, We have not killed even one human being, maybe, So we can definitely purify. As Nagarjuna mentioned, Kanjikni se pame jubala, Chinia Patan Damba Jubadi, Dawa Tinter Tapunam Zedi, Go Sotin Tonde teaching say. As Nagarjuna mentioned, maybe being careless and unawakened, I may have committed a lot of negative karma. But when I come contacts with the Buddha Dharma, and when after finding the path, may I able to get in so-called solution for purifications, like how the moon can come out from the cloud, and such as Angula Mala, have even purified of killing 999 people. Teya nimbi top je tsame go ne ni thaban lebrashana thabi thaba yingi rajin to khain ni sem nam to je jisu thanjin to ngane thoro shaso shasitam khajin chaba ta chisja sabe soba yimbi sobi chinche dibi leche jang mendedo nyamboso gi go ne saba che jang meta de se. So when you purify, it's not only like oh, okay, I kind of say sorry for whatever I have done, and then just reciting some mantras and doing some good karma. This is not good enough with such a distracted mind. It is important for you to be really focused, concentrate, and be sincere, and say it verbally, and then with wholeheartedly, regretting of what you have done, and mainly according to the sutra, with the 4 strength, with the 4 power, you should be purifying all your wrong deeds. As Milarepa mentioned, Dikpa Shapi Eta Nyambana Yawatena Tabayin Shesonse. So as Milarepa mentioned, who can be purified the negative karma? Only those who does a lot of virtues can be purified. So it is indeed very important for all the followers and who wish to purify negative karma should remember the 4 strength or 4 power, literally meaning force, the force over the strength over the power. Digba shabi top tela top jini tengi top niche sunchimbe top dombe top nyambo kindu top jins. So there are 4 strength, mainly for us to purify any negative karma. We need to have the 4 elements, such as support and regretting and promise of not doing it, and the solution. These 4 are very important. The first is the support. In order to purify all our wrong deeds, or purification or to remove our stain, we need to have a great support. Most of us say just thinking positive is going to help, right? It doesn't work in this way. You need to have a support. And particularly in this regard, on the words of my perfect teacher of this window, your support is the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva as your support, not only using Bodhisattva, visualizing on Bodhisattva, but your intention of application and intention is very important. In front of Bodhisattva, I confess and I admit all my wrong deeds, and I want you to practice Bodhisattva 100,000 to purify all my wrong deeds. That's the intention, right? I have made a lot of wrong deeds in my lives. In order to purify this, this is the intention I'm talking about, intention, right? I want to practice Bodhisattva and purify myself, intention. And then application of bodhicitta is that you really say, you think intentionally and you practice. So two application. Using Bodhisattva, the three elements. Use Bodhisattva, intention of purifying all your wrong deeds, and application of doing it. So when you chant Bodhisattva, if you don't have those applications and intentions, and then it is, sometimes it's very obvious, sometimes it's vaguely, but it's okay as long as you have. For example, you start Bodhisattva, right? The moment you start practicing Bodhisattva, your intention is like, in my life, past life, this life, definitely I must have admitted a lot of negative karma. I want to purify this. In order to purify this, I want you to meditate on Bodhisattva. In order to purify this, I practice. So these three things should be together, Then it becomes the support, right? Pena pumposum tu sangye songa da tejin to give shinyen nam kusong puden la soba kangi to na sabara cheja tinigi tengi tobins. For example, the Theravada monks and Mahayanas, they would just call the name of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Sangha, and then in front of them, they would just confess. And so similarly, there is a Mahayana and Theravada, they do this, and Vajrayana, we just meditate on Bodhisattva. And it can be also other representative of a statue, Dharma book, teacher, Sangha, temple, whatever, the representative of Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Also, whatever, for example, today we come into center, we prostrate, we sit, we chant, the center become our support. So remember, it's a condition, right? It's something that supporting us is called power of support. Does it have to be only Bodhisattva? During Indo practice, yes. Otherwise, if you are chanting Madatara is your support. But what do you have to do is three elements. Intention, application, and using the Madatara as your support. If you are lacking of one of this, either you're lacking of intention, or why you are having these applications, then it's incorrect. Right? So otherwise, it can be statue, book, recitations, anything, but these three elements are important. Tejintu menju chanchuki sem keba ni deba shaba tham chela metu merung. Chanchub sem keba mena diktung tobji thangwa shachang chunse sabdo dowa zambe tsawane thaba masons. So most important part is intention of, remember we already studied in a part 1, intention of bodhicitta, and part 2, intention bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. If you have no intention and the applications of bodhicitta, then it doesn't matter either you meditate on Bodhisattva or Guru Rinpoche or Buddha, this cannot be valid. It will not help you to purify. If you have no bodhicitta, if you have no loving kindness, it doesn't matter even you have all the 4 strength, it says it will only lessen the negative karma, but it cannot be completely removed. Right? For example, someone who just practice so much, almost 100,000, million maybe, but you are lacking of bodhicitta. It will not remove or purify your karma or your negative state completely. It will be just lessen it. Right? So it says, okay, now there are three. There are three so-called support, right? Idam, which is Bodhisattva, and there are application of bodhicitta, intention of bodhicitta. So when it comes to support of image, bodhisattva, among all the Buddhas, for purification, bodhisattva is supposed to be the best according to the text. But it says you can replace this with anything. Madatara, statue, Heart Sutra, anything. Right? But application and intention of bodhicitta, you can't. So the point is, if you are not compassionate enough, if your practice is not stained by bodhicitta, the action will not count. Doesn't matter whom you meditate on. Whom you meditate on, it will not count, right? This is what it did you realize it? This is what it says here. Chanchubgi sem chuma mayimba di jula kena yunshi dipi le chitam jaba tamja ranshingi tabar sunde say. If anyone, doesn't matter either you meditate on Buddha, Bodhisattva, statue, mala, or mantra, but as long as you have the bodhicitta, undisturbed bodhicitta, or genuine bodhicitta, if you are able to arouse that genuine bodhicitta that can be aroused, the power of that bodhicitta will remove and purify all your stains. So it's like something in a Bible, right? Because I find it so beautiful, this is part of that. Those who have studied the Bible, maybe you remember that. When talk about the love, says you have the power to move the mountain. If you have no love, you're nothing, right? So when the Bible says you have the power to move the mountain, if you have no love, you're nothing, Even religiously speaking that, for example. Imagine this is 500 years after Buddha's wisdom, okay? Here, so we stress so much, the bodhicitta is a Sanskrit Dharma word. If you use a very ordinary word, we are talking about love. Doesn't matter you meditate on Buddha or whoever the person, individual is, if you have no love, then it says it cannot be purified. The caring, the kindness is very important, right? If anyone with the genuine love and the care, all their wrong deeds can be rangjin, meaning naturally, spontaneously can be purified. Chunjugle, in the way of Bodhisattva's life, it's mentioned. Digba sinto mezi chenaya pala tene jiba chimbatar kanla tene yuku tojo tela pachenam gichimeten say. Whatever the negative karma they have done with the great mind, it can be purified. Since it's the mind is the most powerful, when you say mind, it's referring to a bodhicitta mind, kindness. Since the bodhicitta mind is so powerful, why not we practice bodhicitta? Is it, you know? Why we are not able to practice it? Whatever negative we have accumulated, it can be like a wildfire burning down the whole forest, you know. If you have the mind of a love and kindness, it can burn down the all negative thoughts and the kind, you know, so-called our stain and sufferings, right? All right. So this is what it is for the just introduction today, right?